Okay, today we're going to do a little bit of animation with the LR300 shooting. I was just noticing that the existing animation we've got, so it's a bit jumpy because I'm running over the network at the moment to my dev machine. There's a lot of recoil going on into the body. I was having a look at some videos of the LR300 firing, and it's actually got very little recoil in the real weapon, so I'm just going to do something that's got a little bit less kick to it. So first thing we're going to need is the character mesh, dropping it in. I should stick that on animation mode, and then the character will just center that in the world. Get the right button, there we go. And we'll also need the weapon mesh, drop that in there, center that in the world. Then we'll add those into the animation sequencer. So character and the weapon, done in as well. Right, so they're in the animation sequence. What I'll then do is just clear the control rig off of there while I add the weapon to the attach it to the character's hand, weapon point, and we'll also just scale the animation scale the weapon down slightly, as it's slightly over scale, so in the game it automatically drops down in size, but while I'm just using it for the animation purposes, I'll just do that manually. And we need to bake back the character now with the animation, with the weapon. Stick it back on the control rig on it. So that's got my forward solve and my backward solve in there. And what I'll do is just clear out all those default animation frames it's put in. We don't need all of those. Shorten the animation. I think we're looking at about 7 frames for the fire animation. 5, 6, 7. So we'll end it there. And what I'll then do is set a pose that I've got saved from the default, the idle animation for the LR300. So I'll just call up my pose library of the ones I've saved earlier. So basically I've loaded an existing animation, programmed the control rig from the animation pose, and then saved that as the control rig pose. So I can select all of the controls, and it's all 113 controls, and paste the pose onto that. So that's the ending animation. Also the start pose was my A pose, so I also need to paste that one in. So now I've got an animation that starts and finishes with the default pose. So what I can do now is start adding in the movements for firing on top of that. There's a couple of other things I need to do. I need to bind, so I only want to move one hand and get everything else to move at the same time. So there's a few other controls in here I need to attach together. So we've got the weapon control that needs parenting to the left hand, and I need to get myself a space mouse for orbiting, but for now so parent that one. I think that's all of them on that hand. There's 2 controls. and then in the right hand, same thing again, so I need to parent that to the right hand control, and I need to parent that to the right hand control, and also parent the right hand IK bone to the hand control. And the only thing left now is to then parent the left hand control to the right hand control. So now that's all set up, what we will do, grab that hand control, stick it in weld transform so I can move along the weld axis, and we'll start, so we go 3 frames to fully backwards, then that'll give me 0, 1, 2, 3, yeah, about that. So we want a fairly small recoil on that one, so we've got everything moving at once, so we'll probably go to there. That should auto key. Is that going back a bit far maybe? See where we are. That's not too bad. And back again. So what we'll probably also do, so initially a movement will be a bit quicker. So I might go a bit further in the first one. So it's a sudden back, slightly slower. But also while it's there we want to end up maybe with a bit of rotation. Weld space, and just give it a little bit of an up kick. A bit too much. Right, so up, and then we'll probably want to overshoot slightly as the hand corrects, so maybe we'll go a little bit down, a little bit forwards. Just kind of building this. Oops, too far. So this is going to run, so that's only running at 30 frames a second. When it runs for the fire rate, it probably runs at 60 frames a second, so it'll be a lot quicker movement. That's kind of looking okay for starters. We'll always come back and tweak it later. So the other thing I want to do is, as part of that kickback, is we then need to move the body with it as well. So I'm trying to think what we'll probably do. Twist the shoulders a bit maybe. So we want to be local rotation for the bone rather than world rotation for this one. And then we might just pull that back a bit, very slightly. So what we'll probably do is actually bring the shoulder back a bit with that. That one. So this is just pushing the shoulder a bit with the force of the weapon. Let's see how that looks. Yes, yeah, so now as the weapon moves, we've got the shoulder and the body moving at the same time. you fire against it and you come back to your home position. We might just initially take the head forwards very slightly as well. And you need some minor movements for that. It's all happening so fast, a lot of the time you won't be noticing it anyway. So the question is that that's a little bit less kick than we had before, a bit more realistic. Needs to be a little bit exaggerated because the actual real life gun hardly moves at all. I think that's probably good, just as an initial example. So we'll stop that. That'll do me for this one. So we will, actually, just in case it crashes for any reason, I'll save this and save that one. So I've got my animation sequence saved, so I can reload again, and we will bake that one out. Bake animation sequence. Where am I going to stick that? Just stick it in there for now. And we'll call that LG or LR now. I'll have a look at it. I can always rename it LR300. Fire. Should call it 4. I'll rename it later once I go and check which one I'm using. Don't need an underscore. LR300 fire. Might be G. Okay, let's save that. Export the animation, and there we have a fire animation with less recoil. Okay, happy with that. Save all that one out, and that's it. I'll go and add that to the animation blueprint, the weapon blueprint, and stick it in the game. Job done.